The reason I'm doing it assisted is I'm taking away what we'd say compensatory patterns. You might get some influencers, fitness coaches, whatever, and say, oh, those are it, can you stabilize the muscles? Cool, right, wonderful. What does that fucking mean? Welcome to the channel, guys. It is Coach Tom Hall. You are here for another video. I hope you're enjoying all the content so far. We are dipping into the world of running. Yeah. Who knew? Who knew that was something that I'm currently training a few people for marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, sprints, all those fun things. So if you're a coach that needs any kind of help with that, comment down below. It's absolutely fine. Let's talk, let's chat, let's go through stuff. Let's absolutely nail it. All right, yeah, master degree performance biomechanics and sports and stuff. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But what you're really here for is the 3 best exercises that runners can insert into their strength and conditioning program, right? See, I am an SSC coach, biomechanist by trade. I coach people to be better at running, especially by getting them in the gym is one of the biggest things that they can start to do because they've normally got the running thing down. That's not an alien kind of portion to them. Yes, there's stuff that we can make better, which we'll go over in this video. There's a certain amount of stuff that is just very kind of relatable in the gym. We will be going through some of this, all the stuff that I teach in my group, like GPP phases, power phases, strength phases, all this kind of fun stuff, when to insert stuff where and why we change certain exercises for certain runners. Yes, we're going to be doing split squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, push-ups, but what variation of that is going to make them in the gym robust as hell to go out and run that next PR, PB and doing everything. That's the skill of coaching. And that's the skill that we need to obtain and probably have a little bit of a better idea than not just going in, I'm going to go back squat. Why is that a crap choice for runners to go and do? Which I think we will highlight some, physiotherapists with some bullcrap S&C that focuses on runners, because some of it is atrocious. Okay, that's for another video. If you want me to do, we'll critique some physiotherapy-based running videos, shall we, in the future, or just explain them, why I wouldn't do it, and what's the better option. Let's be positive on those things. So we have 3 exercises that I'm going to show you, which you can take away, go insert in your plan now, and I'll give you kind of the ones that you're going to kind of take out essentially for these, or put them in if you want to. Cool. Most people who are running are probably running 3 times a week. If they can get into an SSC session once or twice, that would be absolutely fantastic. Those sessions, they should probably be made up into mobility, into movement prep, into some plyometrics or power kind of thing, into some main strength, and then probably just some resilience or hypertrophy or whatever, okay? Give yourself 5 sections and kind of put 10 minutes in each, that's an hour, and then you're good as gold. Honestly, you're absolutely fine. Firing up. Cool. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna bring this on the screen. All right, the first ones, I've put 3 exercises in one, okay? It's not gonna be anything new to you, but the second 2 are going to be, so hang around for those. But if you're just new to running and you wanna start integrating this stuff, it's definitely stuff that you can do. The first 3 are all Pogo variations, okay? If you're new to Pogos, we want to be basically on a pogo stick, all right? Which I am utilizing here. There's a certain technique to pogo and kind of pogo variations, and there's something that I want you to really kind of focus on, and that is everything to do with your ankle, all right? So you can see me happily jumping along here, but as I pause through here, I've got, hopefully, I'm going to be going a little bit down, and we're going to keep essentially quite stiff as I land, like a pogo stick, right? Nothing that's happening on a pogo stick. You're not bending at the knee, you're not bending anything through there. You're going to try and keep very stiff. So if I highlight that, my knee's taken pretty stiff, and we're trying to kind of bounce out and attack the ground using the elastic properties in our Achilles, in our kind of into our knee joint. Essentially, we've got our patellofemoral tendon, which is doing a little bit of work, and we've got a little bit of hip stuff, okay? Not as much of the hip and the knee is moving. I'm trying to generate as much as that power through my ankle, and we're aiming for Achilles tendon resilience, a little bit of elastic, and perhaps there's some fitness stuff going on in there, but that's probably more towards isometrics, all right? But if we're able to do this, we're able to produce kind of a little bit of force and recycle the force just like a spring every single time in the hop, which is what your run will be doing. So look very carefully at my upper body as well. I'm making sure my arms are cycling round. and that is giving me a little bit more impetus of that energy to get myself up, so I'm not having to get a contractile kind of muscle to go up with me. You might get some really spongy ones, okay? So if you look up something called deep tier plyometrics, which obviously in the coaches group I explain at depth, you start getting these spongy feelings as we don't jump through. I want this kind of snappy feeling. And that ground contact time is going to be very quick. So if we had a laser pointer to measure my time spent on the ground, it's going to be boom, 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 very quick indeed, right? So last time through, as I'm going forward, obviously I've got a little bit more progressive force, and I'm trying to grip and claw myself going forwards a little bit more. And then if I'm going backwards, I'm going to get a little bit more force through my knee and the kind of the front of my shin. So shin splints, these might be the ones for you. And then we have a little bit more coordination as I go through a split stance. These are generally done a little bit differently for a lot of people and take a little bit of coordination to get going. It's all encompassing for my first one exercise that I would want you to do are pogos, right? In probably 3 to 4 variations before your workout and before your run. I would do them every single day you're doing something, okay? I think they're going to be beneficial. All right, boom. Number 2. We both know, sitting here, that lower body is going to be the key operator. If I'm only picking 3 exercises that I'm going to be doing, lower body is going to be the key thing. This is a single leg supported RDL. I mean by that, we have a RDL position, which is a Romanian deadlift. So we've got a soft knee going on. We've got a little bit of, obviously a little bit where I paused it here. We have a hell of a lot of hip flexion, as much hip bend as I can create. So my hamstring around my hip gets really tight. I've got a little bit of knee bend because I like to get that reach going on to really test where my knee goes over my ankle. So we get a little bit more what's called dorsiflexion. And then I've got that little bit of a reach. At the top of it, I've got an A position, which is where my joints are very, very strong. They're all stacked, as you can see. My ankle is stacked on my knee is stacked on my hip. Beautiful. And that A position is happening where I'm in dorsiflexion massively on my left leg, and I'm nice and tall with that load. Really cool position. So I like a normal RDL, I like a single leg RDL, but the reason I'm doing it assisted is I'm taking away what we'd say compensatory patterns. You might get some influencers, fitness coaches, whatever's, and say, oh, those are where can you stabilize the muscles? Cool, right, wonderful. What does that fucking mean? All right, so we have patterns where you're going from side to side, or because on a single leg shock, one part of your body is working harder than the other. One has to be stable whilst the other one moves, right? That's what happens in core exercise. You're trying to grapple up everything close to your pelvis and your spine whilst other stuff moves around. So one leg is moving, the other side has to stay stable. But with that means you have to make compensations in what you would do with the normal movement. So all I'm looking for here is essentially a little bit of knee flexion, a little bit of dorsiflexion, and a hell of a lot of hip flexion. That's the main thing that I'm training. Cool, my arse. But compensatory wise, because there's no load on the other side, we're going to be shifting it all over the place to try and get down there. If I add that point of contact, so I'm hanging onto that bar, suddenly the compensations become a lot less. I'm able to overload it with more weight, which is cool. That means I'm able to lift heavier on a single leg. Yes, I don't get as much stabilizing effect, but that is in place of the effect of I can work one side of my hip really, really hard and then rest it and switch to the other side. That's why we do the unilateral stuff. The unilateral stuff, 1, gives you more stability. 2, you end up being not as fatigued if you're doing straight leg like normal RDLs bilaterally with a barbell, because of the absolute load that you're lifting. Not as much. It's not going to have as much tiredness, neural effect on you. So that's why we defer towards these, because you have a high frequency amount of lifting and kind of running you're doing. So we want you to recover pretty quickly. Train these in bouts. So if you're doing like deadlifts for bilaterally, chances are you only want to do squats unilaterally, and vice versa. Keeping you fresh, I know. All right, let's show these a little bit more. Boom, boom. So snap into an A position as we go through this. All right, we're going to go on to our last exercise. So nice and short and sharp and wonderful. 3 things that we could be doing straight away. The last one is a split squat variation. It's going to come up after I've faffed around. All right, beautiful. So you can probably see what's happening here. I've not put any calf work in, because every physio in the world has given you single leg calf raises. I'm sure you're doing them. I'm sure you're doing them. That's fine. But I'm going to show you something that you can integrate in to your leg workouts, which is really cool. So this, you can do this on the floor, by the way. You don't have to have a weight plate, but weight plate takes the kind of thinking out of it. This is a floating heel split squat. Floating heel. So I'm going to go through a couple of reps of these and show what we're doing. Boom, 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 boom. Beautiful. All right, so we'll wind that back and lead me down the bottom. Nice. Look at that face. Gorgeous. I know he's grimacing hard because I'm apparently incredibly weak. So on the floating heel, split squat is cool no matter what. It's working like hips, we've got like a split stance, we've got loads of happening through our glutes, our quads, our whatever's cool. Everything's happening really good. The thing that we're looking at here is like, Tom, why aren't you doing a rear foot elevated split squat? So we're doing this front foot elevation. We don't have to. We could do this on the floor, that's absolutely fine. But what the plate does is gives us the license to sit in like a mid float. So when you're going for a calf raise, okay, we do a calf raise on that little block essentially. I think we could all agree. We could go and put the heel super close so it stretches out your calf, loads and loads and loads and loads. We could put it in the middle where it's not as stretched, but it's still active. We could put it right at the top where your calf is contracted as much as possible. For most people, the mid bit is going to be the bit where we're getting most bang for our buck. Our calf still has to be active to hold ourselves up, and we're getting a bit of activity and stretch on our Achilles tendon, which is good. If we feel like we really want to stretch our calf and our Achilles tendon up, we drop that heel down, we force ourselves into more dorsi, and we work through that plane. If you're looking for more stretch effect over that Achilles tendon, essentially. I wouldn't say we want to do that potentially, really. It's cool and all. There's a chance that that might hurt if we've had Achilles issues or plantar fasciitis in the past, but it's a good thing to start to work on. If we take it all the way to the top, we're going to be wibbly wobbly, our calf is very contracted the whole time, and you're going to fatigue very quickly, essentially. So I would be somewhere in the middle of those and trying to keep that nice and stable, because you've only got your midfoot forwards, the ball of your foot basically, on that plate. The heel is just wobbling around, and that heel is that main driver. When somebody's going through your squats and your deadlifts, I'm sure they've said, push through your heel, push really hard through that guy. That's gonna make sure your ass is working. Amazing. Yeah, we haven't got that anymore, but I'm sure when you're running at full pelt, what's the thing that's going to propel you most? Your mid foot into the ball of your foot. It's going to flick, bounce, go, all that tension's coming through there. So we're training your foot to be a little bit stronger with a split squat, which is wonderful. We've got this isometric contraction where it has to hold and yield to whatever's happening, and we're going up and down through a split squat. So those are the reasons that we would do this and insert it beautifully into your day. So the pogos, chances are you're putting them in right at the start of your workout, essentially. Any kind of warm-up drills that you had previously, go put them in. They're going to be absolutely fine to sit in there and do kind of 20, 30 meters of each of them. You'll be absolutely fantastic. The single leg RDL with the support, that's probably going to be either one of your B1 exercises or C1 exercises, right? So probably in your second portion, it's going to be very supplementary. Chances are you're not going to be able to overload it that much. Don't think. You might do it for 6 to 10 reps and you're going to be pretty stable. And you're probably going to get rid of either your bilateral RDL that you were doing, or maybe your single leg RDL, or maybe some sort of hinge-based movement that you were doing, maybe a hip thrust, for example. And then lastly, maybe we insert this one in your squat pattern. Wherever you were doing your squat day, your leg press, or those awful goblet squats or back squats, put these in instead. They're going to be absolutely money. If you go and do 8 weeks of them, switch it around and just gradually increase the weight, do it body weight, gradually find to feel like it, it's going to be absolutely fantastic in terms of building 1, leg strength, but 2, foot strength. And it's something that is massively overlooked in the running economy kind of background. Those are my top 3. If you've got any to add, please let me know. Obviously we've left loads off this list, but if gun to head, maybe these would be on my list for exactly what I'd insert to people's plans if I don't see them and they want to get better at running. Okay, emphasize that. But you might run in other sports, so just think about it. Just think. Thanks a lot, guys. This is the end of the video. Obviously, go like, subscribe, share with your next runner, with your run club. Tell them, oh my God, Tom, you've changed my SNC. This is crazy. We're going to do these 3 times a week. Awesome. I'm sure you're not going to do that, but you're all good. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video.